electron theory is a conduction electron in a metal experiences a constant potential. It moves freely in the crystal, and this theory successfully explained the phenomena of specific heat in solids, electrical conductivity at very low temperature, thermal conductivity, the paramagnetic behavior, magnetic susceptibility of ferromagnetic materials. All these are well explained by this quantum free electron theory. But the main drawback is the spectrum of hydrogen atom, and also the classification of solids as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. Why certain metals and materials, they are having plenty of electrons, they behave just like an insulator. It won't contribute for the electrical conductivity. So why this difference occurs for metals, semiconductors, and insulators? This is not explained on the basis of quantum free electron theory. So another theory was introduced, which is called as band theory, proposed by Bloch. So in the today's session, we'll discuss the features of band theory of solids proposed by Bloch, and also an important model, which is called as Kronig-Penney model, which could be able to explain the classification of solids as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. This we are going to discuss. The derivation is there, so we can take some of the steps directly as if you have known that, and I'll explain whatever is required for this session, and you should take down the notes for this. I give time, and just wait. Share the screen. Could you able to see this band theory of solids? Screen is visible, students? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, according to band theory, a crystalline solid consists of lattice in which the positive ion sites are regularly arranged, and the conduction electrons or free electrons move freely through the lattice without any obstruction. But according to quantum free electron theory, a conduction electron or free electron possesses a constant potential. But according to band theory of solids, a conduction electron, it possesses periodic potential. So this is the basic difference between quantum free electron theory and band theory. So according to band theory, inside the crystal there is a periodic arrangement of positively charged ions through which the conduction electrons move, and the potential of the electron, it changes periodically during its propagation according to band theory. So whenever the conduction electron is close to the positive ion site, the potential is taken as zero. In the diagram you can see. And whenever the position of electron or the motion of electron is exactly between two positive ion sites, it possesses maximum potential. In this way, the potential will be changing from minima to maxima, or for the practical purpose, we assume that from zero to maximum potential, again maximum to zero potential. Like that, the potential of the free electron will be varying as it propagates through the lattice. So this is the basic assumption of band theory of solids. So only 2 points you should know here, remember here. The first one, in a given crystalline solid, all positive ion centers are there exactly placed, or they are having periodic arrangement, and through which the electron propagates. And the electron possesses periodic potential. Whenever the electron is close to the positive ion site, the potential is conveniently taken as zero, and the potential is maximum in between. Between two positive ion sites, the potential will be maximum. Like in this sense, the potential will be varying from zero to maximum, maxima to zero, or zero to maximum, like that. You can assume a series of infinite square wave potentials. Please first you take this diagram. The positive ion centers or lattice ions are represented with black circles, and whenever the electron is close to that, the potential is zero. That's why it is mentioned as zero potential. And between that, the red zone is, you can assume, at the top. There, the potential of the electron is maximum. Please take the diagram. you copy, students? Somebody respond? Shall I wait? Students?
Yes, sir.
And then you take this second diagram also. Is the second slide is visible?
Yes,
You
sir.
you note down these 2 points. According to band theory, a conduction electron possesses periodic potential during the propagation. Is the first assumption of band theory, and the potential is minimum at the positive ion sites and maximum between the two atoms. And the same diagram is represented in another way. You note down this diagram also. Note down these 2 points also. According to band theory, a conduction electron possesses periodic potential during its propagation. The potential is minimum at the positive ion sites and maximum between the two ions. And now you note down this one. V1 corresponding to the lower potential, V2 corresponding to the higher potential. A plus B is the periodicity of the lattice, or indirectly A represents the interatomic spacing, B is the space between two atoms. Lower potential, that I'll explain later in chronic anymore. Shall I proceed? Students? Respond, otherwise I'm not able to understand. Shall I proceed?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Now you take the heading chronic Penry model. This is very important topic in this chapter. Take the heading chronic Penry model. So chronic Penry model is used to explain the classification of solids as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators, and the formation of bands in crystalline solids. This is actually, it has opened a window for new concepts on the electrical behavior of different crystalline materials. So to understand the problem, simply you consider one dimension, because three dimension it is little bit complicated. So for convenience, let us consider in a crystal an electron is moving in one dimension with a periodic potential function. So in a given atom, the number of electrons are arranged in different orbitals, and the outermost electrons are valence electrons. Due to thermal variation, some of the electrons can be liberated. They move freely within the crystal, it won't cross the crystal. But that is the propagation of an electron, and it is represented by a propagation vector k. So for convenience, let us assume an electron moving in one dimension in the periodic potential. And A plus B is the periodicity of the lattice potential, and the potential energy is in the form of series of potential wells. If you see the diagram, so positive ion sites are placed fixed in the lattice points, and an electron will be moving like this. The red color path you can see, the electron will be propagating throughout the crystal, let us assume. So whenever the electron is very close to the positive side, the potential is conveniently taken as zero or minimum. Between two positive ion sites, the potential is maximum. Like that, the potential will be varying from maxima to minima, minima to maxima, and it can be represented by a series of potential wells. So chronic Penry model, according to this model, let us consider a free electron or a conduction electron moving in one dimension with a periodic potential function. And A plus B is the periodicity of the lattice potential. That means it will be the potential function is repeated A plus B in the negative x-axis as well as in the positive x-axis. And whenever the electron is close to the positive ion site, the potential is taken as 0, and between the potential is maximum. So you can imagine a series of potential wells. You can see the path of the electron during its propagation in the crystal lattice in the form of series of potential wells. V maximum represents the potential maximum where the electron possesses when it is exactly between two positive ion sites. Please take these points. If you want, you can take this diagram also. Please note down. The three-dimensional problem, we are reducing it to a one-dimensional problem for simplicity. The same can be extended to three dimensions. Shall I go further? Students? Respond, students? To take this diagram. So let us consider according to Kronig-Penney model, the potential of the solid varies periodically with the periodicity of space lattice A, which is nothing but the interatomic spacing, and A plus B is the periodicity. That means it represents as minus B, 0, A, B, like that, 2A, 2B, like that. It varies on both sides. We are not interested on that, only assume potential V is equal to 0 when it is close to the positive ion site. Potential is maximum when it is between two positive ion sites. So you can imagine two regions, zero potential region as well as maximum potential region. Is it visible slide, students? Respond anybody? Boys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please,
Yes, sir. Yes.
yeah. Please take this diagram. In the intermediate, did you study the Schrodinger time independent wave equation? Anybody respond? Students?
Yes, sir. Schrodinger wave equation.
Yeah, that we are going to further to only I have asked.
Dou x by dou.
Yeah, that's all. Very good. Shall I proceed? Did you copy this, girls?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So So the same I have repeated here. It is assumed, if you want to take these points, it is assumed that the potential energy of the electron is zero near the nucleus or at the positive ion site, and it is maximum, and it is halfway between two adjacent nuclei. So the same is mathematically represented as Vx is equal to 0 in region 1, Vx is equal to V0 in region 2, where Vx is the potential function. You note down these steps. The potential Vx is equal to 0 in region 1, and it is V0 for region 2. Where Vx is the potential function. According to Kronig-Penney model, consider the motion of a particle, an electron, in one-dimensional potential, and it possesses periodic potential. The lattice ions or positive ions are fixed at their positions and they are arranged periodically. The electron will be propagating through this periodic potential, and it possesses periodic potential. Whenever the electron is close to the nucleus or positive ion site, the potential is 0. That is Vx is equal to 0. That can be taken as region 1, and the potential is maximum between two positive ion sites. That is region 2. The potential is represented by V0. So Vx is equal to 0 in region 1 and Vx is equal to V0 for region 2. So you should write Schrodinger time independent equation for these two regions, region 1 and region 2. That we are going to do in the next slide. So the Schrodinger wave equations for the two regions can be written as dou square psi by dou x square plus 2me by h cross square. It is not h. Hs cross square psi is equal to 0 for 0 less than x less than a. If you see the diagram, so whenever lower potential, so when the electron is in the lower potential, then the Schrodinger time independent wave equation is dou square psi by dou x square plus 2me by h cross square psi is equal to 0 for 0 less than x less than a. This is the boundary condition, that is region 1 equation 1, where psi is the wave function. According to de Broglie's concept of matter waves, any material particle, whether it is charged or uncharged particle, can be associated with a wave function represented by psi. So Schrodinger tried to obtain an equation. In the same equation, you can represent the mechanical properties and the wave properties of the material. So psi is related to the wave nature of the particle. So psi is a wave function. It is a four-coordinate function in which you have three position coordinates and one time coordinate, x, y, z, t. And since it is a time independent equation, we assume that it is independent of time. And since we are considering it is one dimension, we are taking it as x only. That's why this equation becomes dou square psi by dou x square, which is a second order differential equation, plus 2me by h cross square into psi. Don't assume psi is in the denominator, psi is in the numerator only. So it is 2me by h cross square into psi is equal to 0, where psi is the wave function, m is the mass of the particle, E is the total energy, and V0 is the potential. It is region 1. And in region 2, where it possesses maximum potential, that is between two positive ion sites, the equation will become dou square psi by dou x square plus 2m into V0 minus C, because V0 is more than the potential of the periodic potential of the electron is greater than its the total energy. That's why it can be taken as V0 minus C. So 2m into V0 minus C by h cross square into psi. Don't assume it is h in the denominator, psi is in the numerator only, is equal to 0 for minus b less than x less than 0, where h cross is h by 2 pi. You should remember in some books it is represented in terms of h only, Planck's constant. In some standard books it is represented as h cross of h. And you can find, if you observe very carefully, one line is there on h. That is called as h cross. H cross is equal to h by 2 pi. You can take any notation, but I took this one. H cross is equal to h by 2 pi. So these are the two Schrodinger wave equations for the two regions. You should note down these two. You take this directly because all we have studied in the intermediate. And whenever in the quantum mechanics, wave mechanics in unit 3, I think I will explain this in detail. But for this derivation chronic pending model, you take these two as it is only, because we are not interested in the derivation. We are interested on the final expression in these features of chronic pending model, because it's only a qualitative analysis, how it explains the classification of solids. Further, you take these two derivations straight away. Dou square psi by dou x square plus 2me by h cross square into psi is equal to 0 in region 1. Dou square psi by dou x square plus 2m into v naught minus e by h cross square into psi. Psi is in the numerator is equal to 0 for minus b less than x less than 0 in region 2. Where psi is the wave function associated with the particle and m is the mass of the particle, E is the total energy, and V naught is the potential, and H cross is H by 2. Please note down these two equations, equation 1 and equation 2. Any doubt in this, students? This you take directly. In wave mechanics, from de Broglie concept of matter waves, I will explain in detail, but for this session, you take these two expressions as it is. Note down these two. Did you copy, students? Voice, respond. Girls, are you listening or not?
Yes, sir.
Did you copy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can I go further? Why will you take V naught minus C? Because the energy of the electron is less than the potential. Now assume that let alpha square is equal to 2me by h cross square, and the beta square is 2m into, that is not beta into 2, beta square. We will type error. Beta square is equal to 2m into V naught minus C by h cross square. Let us assume. Then equations 1 and 2 becomes dou square psi by dou x square plus alpha square psi is equal to 0, equation 3, and dou square psi by dou x square minus beta square psi is equal to 0, that is equation 4. Because of V naught minus E factor, it will become negative. Okay, equations 3 and 4. The previous expression, 2me by h cross square, you assume alpha square, and 2m into actually E minus V naught T. So here you can put minus, it becomes 2m into V naught minus E. So it is beta square. So the expressions becomes alpha square is equal to, let us assume 2m by h cross square, beta square is equal to, correct this one. It's not coming very well. So beta square is 2m into V naught minus E by h cross square. Therefore, equations 1 and 2 becomes dou square psi by dou x square plus alpha square psi is equal to 0, equation 3, and dou square psi by dou x square minus beta square psi is equal to 0, that is equation 4. And here we take Bloch's theorem straight away, and for periodic potential functions, according to Bloch, the solution for the above second order differential equation should be of the type psi k of x is equal to ukx e to the power of ikx, where k is a propagation vector, uk is periodic potential function, psi kx is the wave function. This you take directly. Actually, in the solid state physics phase 2 today, you take there is 8 pages derivation is there, which is not required for us. So according to Black, The solutions for the above second order differential equations, which has both wave nature and particle nature, and possessing periodic potential, can be expressed as psi k of x is equal to ukx e to the power of ikx, where k is propagation vector and uk is periodic potential function, psi kx is the wave function. Please note down this equation 5. This you take directly. Here in this expression, the previous page in equation 2, this is minus Vm into V naught minus V. To take care of it because some printing mistake. Only actually it should be E minus V naught. If I take V naught minus C, it becomes negative. That's why here it is minus beta square side. Equation 4. Then you take Bloch's equation, psi of psi kx is equal to ukx e to the power of ikx. The solution for the above differential equation can be in this type, where k is called as propagation vector, which indicates the propagation of electron through the periodic potential. Uk is the periodic potential function. Did you copy, students?
Yes, sir.
Voice? Somebody
Yes, sir.
respond? Okay. Respond? Okay. So that's what I have explained. Where ukx is the periodicity of the lattice and can be written as ukx is equal to ukx plus a, that is equal to etc. ukx plus any, like that. It's a periodic potential function in one dimension. It explains the exact nature of the potential field. And now actually a big derivation part is there applying boundary conditions, because we have 0 less than s less than a in region 1 minus b less than x less than a in region 2, and using these boundary conditions, using Bloch's theorem, and using solving equations 3 and 4, it is dou square psi by dou x square plus alpha square psi is equal to 0 is region 1, dou square psi by dou x square minus beta square psi is equal to 0 in region 2. So taking these two second order differential equations, actually what you should do is you take the differentiation of these expressions and applying boundary conditions. Finally, you will be getting this expression is important. So you should remember this, because there is no alternative to do this. So finally, you will be obtaining p sin alpha a by alpha a plus cos alpha a is equal to cos ka. This is equation 6. So we should write this expression only after using Bloch's theorem, applying boundary conditions, and solving equations 3 and 4. Finally, we get p sin alpha a by alpha a plus cos alpha a is equal to cos ka, which is equation 6. This you should, this sentence you should write, you will get full marks. There is no other alternative for this. Up to equation 5, you should write all the expressions. Then you should use this sentence using Bloch's theorem, applying the boundary conditions, and solving equations 3 and 4. Finally, we get p sin alpha a by alpha a plus cos alpha a is equal to cos ka, which is equation 6. Where P is the scattering power of potential barrier. So it actually describes how an electron can be able to move from one energy level to another energy level. So that is called as scatter, because this barrier scatters the electron, it prevents the electron to move forward. So which binds the electron to the positive ion side so that it won't contribute for the conductivity. Suppose the electron could be able to move through the penetrate through the potential barrier, then it can go to the second energy level. That we will discuss, where P is represented as mv naught AB by h cross square, where m is the mass of the particle, V naught is the potential, AB is the A plus B is the periodicity, or V naught into AB is called as barrier strength, so that the electron cannot move to the next energy level. This is equation 6. You note down equation 6 using, you write this sentence using Bloch's theorem, applying boundary conditions, in solving equations 3 and 4. Finally, we get p sin alpha a by alpha a plus cos alpha is equal to cos k. Where alpha square is equal to, we have assumed that 2mv by h cross square is the dimension of the barrier, which in general represents the atomic space, interatomic space. Note down equation 6. P is called scattering power of potential barrier represented by mv naught ab by h cross square, and v naught ab is called as barrier strength. Did you copy, students? Please respond. Boys?
Sir, once show equation final, sir.
You're writing equation. Shall I explain? What we have done up to this, in brief, I'll explain once. So that I'll go to the previous slides. So this is actually chronic model is used to classify the solids as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators, and also the formation of bands in crystalline solids also explained by this chronic model. So it is based on band theory. According to band theory, a conduction electron possesses a constant periodic potential. The positive lattice ions are arranged periodically through which the electron moves, and the propagation of electron is represented by K. Whenever the electron is close to the positive ion site, the potential is conveniently taken as 0, and the potential is maximum in between two positive ion sites. So you can imagine a series of infinite square wave potentials or potential barriers as shown in the figure. So whenever the electron is at the positive ion site, which is region 1, the potential Vx is 0, and whenever the electron is between two positive ion sites, the potential is V naught, where it is a maximum potential. So consider a one-dimensional crystalline lattice in which consider the periodic motion of an electron having periodic potential. A plus B is the periodicity of the crystal lattice, and we can write mathematically the potential Vx is equal to 0 in region 1, and that is whenever the electron at the positive ion site, and the potential is maximum, that is Vx is equal to V0 for region 2 when the electron is between two positive ion sites. Now you have to apply Schrodinger time independent wave equation. So for both regions, region 1 where you have 0 potential, in region 2 where you have maximum potential. So Schrodinger time independent wave equations can be written as dou square psi by dou x square plus 2me by h cross square psi is equal to 0 in region 1 for 0 less than x less than a, where psi is the wave function associated with the particle. It is a function having two coordinates x and t because it is one dimensional. Because it is time independent wave equation, the wave function is independent of time. So you will be getting dou square psi by dou x square plus 2me by h cross square into psi is equal to 0, where psi is the wave function, m is the mass of the particle, E is the total energy, and h cross is h by 2 pi, where h is Planck's constant in region 1. And in region 2, a little bit modification is there because the electron will not possess 0 potential. In region 1, it has 0 potential, so V can be taken as 0. But in region 2, it has some potential, maximum potential, so it can be written as dou square psi by dou x square. A small error is there, minus you should take, minus 2m into V naught minus E by h cross square into psi is equal to 0, where V naught is the maximum potential by the possessed by the conduction electron in region 2. So for mathematical convenience, let us assume 2m by h cross square is equal to alpha square, and 2m into V naught minus E by h cross square is equal to beta square. So alpha square is 2m by h cross square, and beta square is 2m into V naught E by h cross square. Therefore, equations 1 and 2 becomes dou square psi by dou x square, d square plus alpha square psi is equal to 0, equation 3, d square psi by dx square minus beta square psi is equal to 0, that is equation 4. So these are the two differential second order differential equations. Now according to Bloch's theorem, the solutions of wave functions psi, which are having periodic potential functions, can be expressed as psi k of x is equal to uk of x into e to the power of ikx, where psi kx is the wave function, one-dimensional wave function associated with the particle, ukx is the one-dimensional periodic potential, and k is the propagation vector. This is represented by equation 5. And actually the periodic potential or periodicity of the lattice in this according to Bloch's theorem can be written as ukx is ukx plus a, that is etc ukx plus a, like that. You have a periodic variation of potential, and using Bloch's theorem, applying boundary conditions, and solving equations 3 and 4, finally we can write p sin alpha a by alpha a plus cos alpha a is equal to cos ka. That is the final expression, equation 6. This you should remember the expression, where P is the scattering power of potential barrier given by mb naught ab by h cross square. Actually, it stops or prevents the motion of electron to go to higher energy level. What is the energy of the electron? What is the strength of barrier? Depending on the propagation of electron will takes place. So it is represented by P, which is V naught AB by H cross square, where V naught is the maximum potential and V naught AB is called as barrier strength. So by analyzing equation 6, finally you can understand the band formation in crystalline solids, and you can classify solids as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators using this allowed bands and the non-allowed bands that we are going to discuss. So this equation 6, now we should interpret equation 6, and finally we should draw some conclusions according to Kronig-Penney model. This we have discussed. Now, as I said, the final expression is p sin alpha a by alpha a plus cos alpha a is equal to cos ka. So in this, if you see this equation, in the equation there are only two variables, alpha and k. And also in the right hand side of the equation there is a cos term. So the cos values lies between +1 and -1. So RHS values are between +1 and -1. So only in the LHS also, only those values of alpha is permitted, so that the entire LHS should lie between +1 and -1. So all values are not permitted because there is a restriction. There is a cosine term in the right hand side. The range is from -1 to +1. Therefore, to satisfy the above expression in the LHS also, only those values of alpha are permitted, so that the entire expression p sin alpha a by alpha a plus cos alpha a must lie between +1 and -1. So if you plot a graph by taking LHS versus alpha a, it gives the permitted values of alpha, so that you can draw certain conclusions. Please take these, note down these steps. Is it clear? So finally, using Bloch's theorem, applying boundary conditions, solving equations 3 and 4, you can obtain p sin alpha a by alpha a plus cos alpha a is equal to cos ka. If you observe this expression, because there is a cos term in the right hand side, the range is between +1 and -1. So only those values of alpha are permitted in the left hand side, so that the entire LHS should lie between +1 and -1 in order to justify the expression. So only certain values of alpha are permitted, not all values of alpha. So this is the feature of this expression. To understand this, you should plot a graph taking p sin alpha a by alpha a plus cos alpha a along y-axis, alpha along x-axis. You can observe or you can obtain the permitted values of alpha. This we should do in the next slide. Please note down after this. I'll give 2 minutes. You write all these steps. P sin alpha by alpha plus cos alpha is equal to cos a. After that, you should write. Is this clear, boys? Because some of the expressions we took straight away. We can't derive each and every one. So what are the salient features of Kronig-Penney model only is important. Please note down this. Did you copy, students? Shall I wait? Respond. Boys,
Yes, sir.
girls, shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now you should take the graph, draw the graph. See, now you have to plot a graph by taking alpha A along x-axis and p sin alpha A by alpha A plus cos alpha A along y-axis. You will be getting the propagation of an electron. Please note down this diagram. This graph is very important in chronic Penny model. Alpha A along x-axis and the LHS of the equation along y-axis. The dotted line represents the propagation of an electron. From this, we can draw some conclusions. Did you draw this graph, students? Shall I wait? Respond, please.
1 minute, sir.
Okay, right. So the graph between LHS, that is P sin alpha A by alpha A plus cos alpha A versus alpha A gives the permitted values of alpha as shown in the figure. So by taking different values of alpha, how alpha values can be obtained? You know alpha square is equal to, we have assumed the 2me by h cross square, where m is the mass of the particle, that is mass of the electron, E is the energy of the electron. So different energy levels, energy values are given, and alpha A can be obtained because A indirectly represents the interatomic spacing. So different alpha A values are given and LHS is calculated. So the plot is graph is plotted between LHS versus alpha A. If you see this diagram, initially let us take from this position, the propagation of the alpha A values are given like this. So P sin alpha A by alpha A plus cos alpha A values, they are going and reaches a maximum value, then it decreases. If you see in this graph, here there is a limitation, -1 and +1, because LHS is equal to cos Ka. So only those cos lies between +1 and -1. So only those values of LHS are permitted so that it satisfies the equation. So this region where you find this is beyond +1 and this is beyond -1. Similarly, this is also above +1 and this is below -1. So these are not permitted for the electron to propagate, because to satisfy the equation, it should not cross these limits +1 and -1. So if you see in this sense, the energy spectrum of electron, it is consisting of number of allowed bands with some separations. These separations are called as non-allowed bands or unallowed bands or forbidden bands. So the propagation of electron can be permitted from this value to this value. Then here a gap is there. This white shaded region, blue shaded region is the allowed band, which satisfy the equation P sin alpha A by alpha A plus cos alpha A is equal to cos Ka. So electron can have these energy levels. Immediately, this is not a continuous process. These values are not permitted for the electron. So this is called as a forbidden band. Again, from this it is allowed. So this is an allowed band, and again you have a forbidden band. Like that, the energy spectrum of electron, it consists of number of allowed bands separated by forbidden bands. So this actually opens a concept of conduction band, valence band, and forbidden band. So the separation between valence band and conduction band, it is called as forbidden band. So this is exactly opposite to the classical theory, because according to classical theory, a particle like electron or proton, it may have any energy value. But here, to satisfy the equation, definitely there is certain separation. So the energy diagram is not a continuous one. It is having certain discrete nature. So all electrons can have these energy values, but to go to this energy value, it is not a continuous process. It needs certain external force, so that only it goes to the next allowed energy band. Again, there is a forbidden band. That is, again, there is a allowed band. Like that, it consisting of number of allowed bands separated by forbidden bands. And also, as the alpha value of alpha A increases, it is observed that the width of allowed band increases. That is, alpha is indirectly, it is the energy of the electron. So, if the energy of electron is more, then there is a finite probability that the electrons can be moving to the next higher energy state. So the width of allowed band increases as the value of alpha increases. And also, as the value of P increases, then what happens? The width of allowed band decreases, because P is equal to mv naught AB by H cross S, just now we have discussed it, which is the scattering power of barrier strength. It stops the electrons and it prevents the electron to go to next higher energy level. So as the value of P increases, then the width of allowed band decreases. If P tends to infinity, then V naught is maximum, that is also very high, so that the electron strictly confined to the nucleus only. So there is no propagation. It is the case of insulators. That is, all electrons are strictly bound to the nucleus, because the potential barrier, strength of potential barrier is very high, so that no electron, even some thermal energy is given, can be moving from next energy state is not possible because of the higher value of P. So the entire scene, it depends on two factors. The first one is the barrier strength, which is P, and the second one is the alpha value. As the value of alpha increases, then the width of allowed band increases, finite probability that the electrons can be moving from next higher energy state. But when P is very high or P tends to infinity, the potential V naught is also very high, so the electron confined to the nucleus only. The propagation of electron is indefinite in this case. So from this diagram, you can draw these conclusions. The motion of electrons in the periodic lattice is characterized by the bands of allowed energy separated by forbidden regions, because it is not a continuous process. The energy spectrum of the energy spectrum of electron consisting of number of allowed bands separated by forbidden bands. So as I said, as the value of alpha increases, the width of allowed band also increases. And as the value of P increases, then the width of allowed band decreases, and these allowed bands become narrower and the forbidden bands become wider. That means more energy is required to promote an electron from lower energy state to higher energy state. And there is an expression given for this energy of an electron. So as P tends to 0, sin alpha A is equal to 0. Then alpha A is equal, if sin theta is equal to 0, then theta is equal to plus or minus n pi. Therefore, alpha A is equal to plus or minus n pi, or alpha is equal to n pi by A. But also we know that alpha square is equal to 2me by h cross square. If you take that expression, substitute here, finally you can write an expression for the energy. Energy E is equal to n square h square by 8m a square. So this is the expression for the energy of electron in a given allowed band. So it clearly explains that the particle or like electron is confined to one-dimensional infinitely deep square well potential box where we can find discrete energy levels given by En is equal to n square E1. So you can put different values. E1 is equal to Ne1, E1 only, then E2 is equal to 4E1, E3 is equal to 9E1, like that, to have only discrete energy levels. The energy spectrum is not continuous according to this band theory of solids. So these conclusions, these are the salient features of Kronig-Penney model. So these expressions are not actually required, only the expression for energy. So by plotting the graph, alpha A versus left hand side, LHS, you will be getting the motion of an electron. Once you observe this, there is a restriction for the alpha A value because some regions they are crossing +1 and some regions they are crossing -1. They are not allowed for the electron to propagate. So these are called as forbidden regions. So the energy spectrum of electron consisting of number of allowed bands separated by forbidden bands. So only certain bands are allowed, and there is clear separation between different bands. It's not a continuous process, continuous energy band formation because of this +1 and -1 restriction in the right hand side. So as the value of alpha increases, the width of allowed band also increases. As the value of P increases, the width of allowed band decreases. As P tends to infinity, then the electron V0 is also very high, and the energy is strongly bound with the metal ions, and only will be getting a single energy level. So if you take hydrogen, you have getting only a single energy because the electron is strictly confined to the nucleus. If you could able to break this, it is nothing but atom bomb. That energy is required so that you can create an atom bomb. So this, in this way, this band theory of solids explains the classification of solids as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. So in the next class, I'll discuss one to more points in this Kronig-Penney model and how it leads to the explanation of band formation in solids and how it explains the classification of solids as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. So only in this Kronig-Penney model, first we should write down the assumptions of band theory. The electron possesses periodic potential, and the electron, whenever it is close to the positive ion side, the potential is 0 and it is maximum between. These are the assumptions of band theory. Then it can be represented in the form of a series of infinite square well potentials. Then Kronig-Penney model, first you write the problem, consider the propagation of an electron in one-dimensional periodic potential function. A plus B is the periodicity. The potential is 0 when it is at positive ion side. So Vx is equal to 0 in region 1. So Vx is equal to V0 in region 2. You should write two Schrodinger time independent wave equations, and you should assume alpha square is 2m by h cross square, beta square is equal to minus 2m into V0 minus v by h cross square. Then you will be getting two second order differential equations, equation 3 and 4. Using Bloch's theorem, applying boundary conditions, you can obtain P sin alpha A by alpha A plus cos alpha A is equal to cos A. So cos value lies between +1 and -1. So only those values of alpha permitted in the left hand side to justify the equation. Once you plot a graph LHS versus alpha A, you can obtain the permitted values of alpha. From that, it is clear that the energy spectrum of electron consisting of number of allowed bands separated by forbidden bands. As the value of alpha increases, the width of the allowed band increases. As the value of P increases, the width of allowed band decreases. Like that, the energy spectrum is consisting of number of allowed bands and forbidden bands, which opens the gate for the band theory, the band formation in crystalline solids. From that, you can explain the classification of solids as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. So you read this carefully. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the next session. And for today, I have a meeting at 11:15. So at this juncture, I'll stop you. If you have any doubts, you can ask that. Is it okay? I take attendance. And after my class, you attend graphics class. And in the lab session, we'll discuss the PN junction diode. If time permits, in the next Tuesday, we'll go for next experiment. Okay? Respond for the attendance. Roll number.